Thursday morning, 8 o'clock, and it is May 29th. Thanks for joining us this morning on ARC Rochester. I'm Abby Fridman.
And I'm Dan Track, and we have a jam-packed 2 full hours to get through this Thursday morning. So let's run down what we have brewing for you today.
Coming up this morning, we are looking ahead to the weekend and filling you in on some events that'll get the whole family out and about. The one and only Deb Ross will join us with a never-ending list of some of the fun activities.
She absolutely will. Then our resident garden guy, Mark McLean, back with us for another whoop from the ground up. It's the sound effect. Oh, wait, listen, I've tracked it. We're working on getting it in the open.
Great. I was wondering.
This morning, he's walking us through the difference between annuals and perennials and what you need to know to grow them.
And then the votes are in. Today, we'll be revealing the winner of Molly V's ice cream competition. We'll be giving the final four a taste before the winner is revealed live on air.
I am stoked for this.
Yeah, me too.
Although I'm kicking myself because we never sat down and came up with our own ice cream idea for them.
That means that next year it's going to be amazing because we're going to have a full year to think of it. And you know what? Stephanie Joseph got the opportunity to be a judge for that. Lucky her. So, next year I think we'll have all of the elements to create the ultimate ice cream.
The perfect pick.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds good. Hey, before all of that, though, we do want to get a check of some of our top local headlines. Stephanie Joseph at the live desk with your Thursday morning news break.
Good morning there, guys. We do begin with that breaking news that we've been following all morning. A portion of the New York State Thruway is back open after an early morning incident between the Henrietta and Victor exits. Police say they now have a suspect in custody. We go live to our Chris Lopez with the very latest for us near that scene. Chris.
Yeah, Steph, this started at about 3:30 this morning, or at least that's when we started to get the call in that the Throughway, both headed eastbound and westbound, that is I-90, was shut down for an incident. That incident was a suspect that was barricaded in off the side of the Throughway. It was a bend, and that was headed eastbound. It was a bend that suspect was barricaded in with a shotgun. It took law enforcement maybe a few hours to apprehend that suspect. We're not sure exactly how they went about apprehending that suspect, but they ended up apprehending them without a struggle. Earlier this morning, I was driving into work, and that was from the Canandaigua area into Henrietta. They had that section shut down, and I had to take the Victor exit, which was exit 46 near the Eastview Mall, or what leads you to the Eastview Mall, and it was shut down from exit 46 all the way to Henrietta, really heading into our station, and that was both eastbound and westbound. They shut off both sides due to this incident, and they really set up a perimeter on both sides of the Throughway to really encapsulate this incident. When I spoke with law enforcement over the phone, probably at about 5 o'clock this morning, they said that suspect was barricaded off, and it was a wooded area, and it wasn't around any businesses. It really wasn't around a residential area either. So there wasn't really an immediate threat to anyone else other than law enforcement. Now, what happened leading up to this, why that suspect had a shotgun and why exactly they were barricaded in, we still don't know yet. Details are still will follow throughout the morning, and we'll be sure to bring those to you as we get them. But this is still a developing subject. But as of right now, both sides of the Throughway are fine. You can go either eastbound or westbound on I-90. So that is a bit of good news. And like I said, this story is developing who that suspect is, the identity, if they're known to law enforcement. We're going to find that out for you guys as we make our way through the morning, as well as into our evening shows on 13 Wham or on 13wham.com. Steph, back to you.
All right, Chris Lopez out there live for us this morning. Thank you. Move along now to primary season heating up in Rochester as the city's 3 Democratic mayoral candidates go head-to-head in their first televised debate. Mayor Malik Evans is looking to hold on to his seat, while City Council member Mary Lupian and businessman Shashi Sinha are both trying to unseat him. The candidates took to the stage last night promoting their platforms to become Rochester's 72nd mayor. The trio sharing their views on several issues impacting the Flower City, including housing, affordability, and the future of Rochester's sanctuary city status. Coming up in our 9 o'clock hour, I'll be chatting with 13 WHAM's Daniel Finkelstein, who was at the debate last night, for more. And as a reminder, the Democratic primary is June 24th, with the winner moving on to face conservative candidate Luis Sabo in November. Reverend Clifford Florence Sr. is no longer in the running after failing to meet the requirements to run as an independent. The final ballot will be certified in the first week of September. A deadly crash on Rochester's west side is under investigation this morning. It happened around 4:30 Wednesday afternoon on Lake Avenue near Riverside Street. Police say a 63-year-old woman from East Rochester crossed into oncoming traffic, colliding head-on with another vehicle. She was rushed to the hospital but did not survive. The driver of the second car, a man, was also hospitalized with pain. Investigators are still working to figure out what caused the woman to veer into the wrong lane. Rochester police continue to search for a driver involved in a hit and run that sent 2 people to the hospital. Investigators say 2 men were walking on Ravine Avenue when a silver car pulled up next to them. The people in the car got into an argument with the men, which escalated into a fight. As the victims tried to walk away, police say the driver hit them with the car and took off. Both men were taken to the hospital and are expected to recover. Anyone with information should call 911. A Greece pawn shop owner is facing years in federal prison after admitting he helped run a multi-million-dollar retail theft ring. Dominic Sprague pleaded guilty to conspiracy to transport stolen goods after prosecutors say he bought items stolen from major retailers, then sold them on eBay. The operation brought in nearly $2.5 million for his pawn shop. 4 other people involved have also been indicted, or convicted rather, and are awaiting sentencing. Sprague now faces up to 6 years behind bars. Today is another opportunity for Rochester residents to learn about the city's 2025-26 budget proposal. It's the second public hearing on Mayor Malik Evans' proposed $681 million spending plan. Today's discussions will be on public safety funding, specifically staffing for the city's police and fire departments, as well as body-worn cameras and new public safety technology. Other plans include a re-entry program for youth offenders and a team to handle non-urgent 911 calls. Hearings run from 9 to 4:45 today at City Hall. It'll also be streamed on City Council's YouTube and Facebook pages. The council is expected to vote on the final budget June 17th. For all these top stories and any updates, be sure to visit 13wham.com. Back to you.
All right, Steph, thanks. We'll get to the forecast now. We're seeing return of the rain this morning. We had some during the overnight hours. Now, hopefully, fingers crossed, it makes its way out through the day.
Yeah, making its way out through the day, but then I guess returning a little bit as we make our way closer to the early evening hours or late afternoon. Meteorologist Marty Snyder in the Weather Center right now. We're talking about that. But Marty, listen, rain aside, I'm looking ahead to next week because we have got some gorgeous summer-like weather on tap. It's the spring that we didn't have.
And we haven't been able to say that for, well, since last summer, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are going to change things around by a lot going into next week. That's the really good news. And today's just going to be that work in progress. Today, you can already see how a lot of the rain is beginning to pull to the east, beginning to make its way out. And we're seeing the cloud cover lift as well. So that's helping to at least take away that chance of drizzle. We did see a little bit of drizzle that did hold on just a little bit earlier. And gradually, we'll break skies open a little bit, allowing a little bit of sunshine in. 66 as we head towards noon. Highs mostly in the upper 60s. And then longer term, that's when we're going to see temperatures move quite a bit higher. A little bit tomorrow, 71 then, not by too much. We actually drop back a little bit before we surge going into next week. A lot of temperatures averaging a little closer to 60 for the weekend. But then as we head into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, a steady rate of increase there, probably closing in on 80 as we head into Tuesday, maybe even get into the 80s into Wednesday. So yeah, for the much longer term, looking really nice for us. Short term, not a bad day for us today. A little stray showers a possibility to the south during the afternoon, but that should be about it. So pretty quiet for a lot of the remainder of the day today, but yeah, heading into next week, I think that's when we really start to turn the corner and those temperatures really start to move upwards by quite a bit.
Yeah, things looking up for sure.
82 degrees?
Yeah.
You're dressed like the sunshine
Well,
that we're going to see.
I was trying to like put the good vibes out there. Like
Yes.
maybe it would be really, really sunny today.
Put it in the universe.
Yeah,
We need it. We need it.
Yeah.
All right, Marty, thank you. Appreciate it.
Sure.
All right, time right now is 8:10. Much more to come this morning on Arc Rochester. When we come back, we're going to go over some of the stories that we found pretty interesting this Thursday morning.
And don't forget, you can watch us on the go wherever you are. We are streaming live right now on the 13 Wham YouTube channel, along with FoxRochester.com and TikTok. Arc Rochester is back after this.
Let's go off the top this morning and start with stories that have piqued our interest. It's only 8:13 and things have gone off the rails. Can you believe that?
100%.
Yeah.
This is Arc Rochester.
It's true. It's true.
It's authentic.
Relevant, community-based.
Boom.
The
That's
C
how
should
we
maybe
roll.
be for chaotic.
Ooh, I wonder if we can talk to corporate and see if we can do a brand change.
Well, we tried and they said no. So
It's true.
let's get going. We're going to start out with some stories. This is a nightmare for one community out of Massachusetts. An emergency declaration has been announced and immediate action is underway. Rats have infested the neighborhood.
Aw.
Yeah. Now, why? Is that a gross or is that like a you feel bad?
No, it's like a
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good.
This story courtesy of our sister station, a rat apocalypse.
everywhere.
Okay, so this all started at a fire at a local waste and recycling plant. Rats from that trash transfer station have now poured onto the streets, and they're not going anywhere. It's not just one or two rats digging through the trash on the curb. This is happening in broad daylight, and you can see them just running across the street, making nests in yards and setting up shop in people's driveways. This video just absolutely bizarre, considering this is like a residential area. So city leaders say they're fielding nonstop calls from people who live in the neighborhood. Even with the rats moving to some surrounding towns, the problem is just absurd. Animal control has started hauling bags of rats away, with officials ordering pest control to clean up immediately. The trash
Bags of rats?
Bags of rats, yes. So the trash company is footing the bill for this. Officials have said that they have to be responsible for this. Dozens of bait traps have been laid, fumigation efforts are underway, but the rats are still lingering. Do you have to let it linger? Residents are calling this a full-blown health and safety issue. In an effort to actually limit some of the foot traffic while pest control works, city crews have shut down a main road right near the site from where that fire happened, which is also like right near a playground. So this isn't just like having an impact on the people because of the rats, but now the kids can't go to the playground. Also, the garbage trucks that used to park at that facility that caught on fire, now they've been moved to a different spot, hopefully to keep some of the rats away. However, there is still the bigger question lingering here. How did things get so bad at that facility? That is what the state's environmental agency is trying to figure out. They want to know if health or safety violations have occurred and if the company is at fault. If that's the case, they could face some pretty significant fines here. I want to see if we could just pull up that rat video one more time.
Yeah, let's talk over that, because that's really crazy.
You think of where you see rats regularly, you think of like big cities, right? This is still like nothing that I've really ever seen before. We had some crazy rats in Washington, D.C. Nothing like this, though.
I mean, I've seen worse.
Sure.
I've seen worse.
But like a residential neighborhood?
Yeah, I mean, well,
Where were you living?
In a city.
Okay, the suburbs.
Yes,
This is
not
the
in the burbs.
Okay.
Not in the burbs.
Yeah.
No, it's I don't know, reminiscent of like a horror movie where, you know, I don't know,
Like-
some infestation,
Yeah.
and they're taking over, and soon they'll eat all the people,
Yeah.
and they'll be living in the homes.
A ratpocalypse.
A ratpocalypse.
It also, you think of like when something bad is coming and all the animals like scurry off into the woods, or like the birds fly away. Like that also is what this kind of reminds me of. Like,
Yeah.
it's a sign of trouble.
Where are all the birds to come and get these rats?
That's a great question.
Like, that's gross. I don't know. Yeah, listen, I would say somebody's got to be responsible, because if I were a homeowner there and all of a sudden I had a rat sitch, I'd be upset.
Yeah.
I would be upset,
really
especially if it were no fault of my own. It's not like I'm leaving blocks of cheese out
Okay.
for them.
Quick story, and then I know we have to move on. I was a resident assistant in college, and at the end of the fall semester, right before winter break, we had to go and make sure that all of our residents unplugged all their electronics because there was going to be a mandatory power outage. So some of my residents unplugged their fridge, but left all of the food in there. So they had rats take over their room. But I had to come back like 2 weeks early for resident assistant training. So I could hear them, and they were like in my room, they were in the hall, yeah.
Scattering all over the floors.
And like I was the only one on the floor, and there were rats. And look, it takes a lot to freak me out, but I was not having any
That's when you
of
get a
it.
box and you move out.
Well, they were, you know, I had a job to do. I couldn't
I know.
just leave. I slept on my friend's couch though.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But you know that one or two of those rats slept with you on that couch. You know that, right?
Nice little pillow.
Yeah, deep down, you know, it's not an eye mask.
I know.
That's a rat. That's a rat. All right, let's move along to my story. I know we've heard our share of bizarre 911 calls, but this one happened right here in New York State. So get this, a group of friends, they're hiking in the Cascade Mountains in the Adirondacks, and they decided to take a couple of mushrooms. So somewhere near the summit, things got out of hand. One of them dialed 911 to report that one of their friends had died.
Oh my gosh.
But when rescuers arrived, their friend was totally fine. It turns out they were just tripping really badly. Park rangers say the hikers, what is this video? This is great.
Ashley, what did you search to find this video?
Yeah,
Okay.
I like it. Okay. The rangers say the hikers were visibly confused, altered, and deeply convinced that something tragic had happened to one of them. The call was not a prank or anything like that. It was just panic under the influence. And this is far from the first time we've heard anything like this before. There's dozens of cases similar along those lines, like a guy in Nebraska who accidentally butt dialed 911 while discussing his plans to break into somebody's car. Officers listened to the entire thing, then arrested him right there at the scene. And there's no shortage of stories. I mean, no shortage of stories out of Florida. One Florida man, fill in the blank, he dialed 911 to complain that his dealer shorted him on the cocaine he was trying to buy. He was buying drugs, got shorted, and called police to complain.
Can you believe this injustice?
I mean, when police arrived, he not only admitted it, he handed them the bag of coke.
Count it.
Yeah.
Sorry, it really wasn't that funny.
Yes, it was. Somebody give me a credit card. Let me one piece, two piece.
Okay, all right, well.
All of them totally serious and totally sincere and totally unaware of how ridiculous their stories would sound. Look, we all know illegal activities are illegal for a reason. So maybe the moral of these stories is if you're going to lose your grip on reality, just don't do it on speakerphone.
Or put the phone away.
Yeah, lock it up. Lock it up.
Listen, I also feel like...
Although maybe don't take mushrooms out on a hike in nature.
Took the
like
words out of my mouth.
You're on a cliff somewhere. Something could have happened.
Yeah.
Thank goodness it didn't. I mean, because it makes for a great story rather than a tragic story.
Yeah.
But there's a reason no names are in this story, because this is not a story you want to tell your kids you did.
Was the friend who everyone thought was dead but was alive, was that friend fully sober?
No.
Okay. Because imagine how annoying that would be if you're with your friends and they're all convinced.
Guys, I'm fine, and they're just convinced that you're a ghost.
And the police show up and you're like, you're the one that looks like you're responsible.
Did you hear her?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Producer Ashley, she has got a very, she knows how to win an award. I'll tell you what, we could win a lot of Emmys. We could win a lot of Emmys if we followed all of her instructions, but people would lose a lot of respect.
Look at that. We have to go to commercial.
Yes, don't go anywhere. When we come back, Mark McClain is back to talk weather trivia.
We're back after this. Welcome back. Meteorologist Mark McLean is joining us now with a look at the rainy forecast and our weather trivia, too.
Yeah, not great, right? I mean, it's not a terrible start, but we've had a lot of these mornings in May, right?
Yeah.
We've had a lot of not great mornings from the beginning of the winter season.
We've had plenty of Mays like this too. I mean, 2020, the first 2 weeks of it were record cold. We had 3 record lows and that was that COVID time period.
Yeah, that was the least of our problems in 2020, McLean.
The memory might be a little muddy in terms of the weather, but we bounced right out of that. By the end of that month, we were near 90. I mean, we were really, ramping up, which can happen this time of the year. So, things are going to turn around. We'll check the forecast in a second, but weather trivia first today. And we're just gonna keep going with this theme that Abby seems to love.
Well,
Abby,
okay.
I'm just, you were told to use your context clues, okay?
Got roasted by Tony Rice yesterday.
Use your context clues.
Yeah, so, all right.
Why do you consider that a roast?
Because there was a lot of attitude.
It was definitely directed at Abby, not at me.
I was the one that started it. I thought it would be funny, and apparently not. Okay.
That's amazing.
All right.
All right, layers of the atmosphere. So this layer is actually the hottest layer of Earth's atmosphere.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it gets hot because the chemical makeup of the atmosphere changes with elevation. There's a homogenized part of the atmosphere, like milk you buy off the shelf from Wegmans or Tops. It's well mixed. It's certain percentages of gases that you'd find anywhere. 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen. It's the same in Tokyo as it is down in South America. But when you get to this layer,
About milk?
when you get to this layer, you get lighter elements like molecular oxygen that start to seep out of the atmosphere that can intercept the sun's harmful forms of ultraviolet radiation, and it can really heat this layer up.
So what object in the dairy section would that be?
Yeah, butter?
It'd be like
Cheese.
the habaneros, the Carolina Reapers. You find those in a regular dairy
If
section.
those were in queso, right?
I have one of those for the garden, by the way. We're going to put a Reaper in.
Oh,
we're going to
really?
We're going to have a pepper taste off in October.
let's go.
Okay.
Exciting.
Yep. But we'll have the answer on ARC Rochester here at 9 a.m.
I think I know.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I feel pretty good.
You've used your context clues?
I've used my context clues.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That answer is coming up. Let's talk about the weather quick. And, the theme has been rain. It's been occasional rain. Some spots are seeing a little more, some spots a little less. It's nice that we have this. We're one of the only states that actually has a independent network of weather stations placed all around western, central, northern, southern New York, down towards the island. 1/10 of an inch in Cohocton. It was a 1/4 inch in South Bristol. 3/10 of an inch in the city. So, it's enough to keep the lawn green. It's not enough to be a cause for concern for, ponding on roadways or flooding or anything like that. But nice to keep tabs on how much is out there. The old sneeze cast, Dr. Hartel's office. This is the first time this season, if you're really suffering today or yesterday, that the grass pollen levels have gotten to a high level. So this is one place where that rain will actually help us out a bunch. The tree pollen is coming back down now. The oak, the birch tree, and the walnut tree are the primary suspects for that. 58 degrees now. The ceiling's still pretty low, 5,500 feet, but that is rising slowly. Visibility is okay on your drive in at 10 miles. The rain, most of it anyway, is off to the east now towards Syracuse and pushing out towards eastern New York State and getting out of the picture. But with low pressure hanging around, it's going to keep a kind of a cool forecast. Anytime you have low pressure like that, clouds are abundant and temps are going to be a little bit below normal. And that'll be the case not only today, but also into Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Sorry to say that next system right there, that is not a late May setup. When you see that low down towards New Jersey for Friday and into Saturday, that's more typical of maybe late March, early April weather, and that's going to draw down that cold front that's up in the northern Great Lakes for the weekend weather. So we're going to see numbers that are going to go backwards, likely into the 50s for Saturday, 59 degrees, a passing shower or two. And you're going to notice that breeze out of the north at 10 to 20. Sunday starts to turn around a little bit. It'll dry out with some sunshine, 63. But it's really not going to be until next week that we really start to see things turn around. Some sunshine by the end of the day today should be a really nice finish. If you want to get out for the walk, get out in the garden, it'll be a pretty nice day to do that, mow the lawn. Extended forecast after our cool weekend. This thing's really going to start to turn around. And this does look like an extended period of warmth coming back to the area. And the normals are at the bottom of the screen. Our normal high by the middle of next week is 75. So even if we get back to normal, it's going to feel like a heat wave.
Yeah.
By extended, though, do you mean like this is it? This is where the season starts, and I'm talking extension through, mid-September?
So this is where winter air really starts to lose its punch. All areas that are, for instance, Rochester, we have a 68.5-degree sun angle now at lunchtime. That's quote unquote tropical radiation. Anything above 66.5 degrees high in the sky, that's what you'd find down in the tropics, from the Tropic of Capricorn to the Tropic of Cancer. You'd see that sun angle in that range for those tropical areas, and we get that for about 6 weeks out of the year, 6-7 weeks here. So this is that peak intensity. So all that cold air that's up north is getting exposed to 24 straight hours of sunlight now. The sun does not set at the North Pole, and that's why these cold air masses really start to lose their punch.
You hear that, all you flat earthers? Doesn't set at the pole. Look at that, Abigail. 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah. I'm excited. It's going to be, as long as it's nice, I think we should have a little summer solstice party.
Little deck weather.
So, what do we do?
For the solstice? Are we on the air? Ashley, is the 21st an Arc Rochester Day?
Might be a Friday.
We could have a party out in the garden.
The 21st is a Saturday.
We'll have to save it for a Friday. Oh, no. We'll have to save the solstice party for a Friday.
I'm not here that Friday, though, or that following Monday.
Why? Where are you going to be?
I'll be out of town. Maybe.
Okay.
I shouldn't have said that.
All right. That's fine. We'll just party without you. No big deal.
Oh, wow. I can be replaced that easily.
Well, if you're not going to be here, you're not going to be here.
Okay.
You've got better things to do.
Then take it away.
Bye.
No thanks. We have much more to get to this morning here on Arc Rochester.
We're back right after this. Thanks so much for sticking with us at 8:34 this Thursday here on Arc Rochester. This morning, we are wrapping up our series of conversations with Rochester Regional Health for Mental Health Awareness Month. And with summer right around the corner, many families are starting to think about the services available outside of the classroom.
For our final installment in this series, we'll be going over some of the resources for kids during the summer months. Here to talk more about that is lead therapist Courtney Smith. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. So I'm sure a lot of families are out there wondering, all right, so my student isn't going to have the typical resources supplied to them at school for the summer months.
Yes.
What do they need to do to make sure their child is still getting some form of care?
So Rochester Regional has amazing programming. I'm actually housed in Greece Arcadia schools. We have many therapists that work within the school systems. A lot of those therapists work through the summer with the kids on their caseload, which is amazing. And then obviously you guys know about the clinic, which provides their services year round, which is amazing. We have awesome walk-in hours. So if a kid is not already connected with a therapist, they can walk in Monday or Wednesday. I believe it's 8 to 10 o'clock in the morning. They can come in with their parent, be connected with a therapist right then and there, which is awesome.
I want to backtrack quickly for someone who may have missed some of these previous conversations about mental health awareness. For a mom or dad who's sitting there at home right now thinking to themselves, you know, I've wondered if something is up with Johnny or Sally, but I don't know kind of what to be on the lookout for, what the symptoms or signs I might be seeing, what's typical teenage angst, and what's could be potentially problematic. What are we looking for?
I think the big thing is knowing your kid. If you're seeing a drastic change very, very quickly and it's elongating, so for weeks on end, the child doesn't want to come out of their room, they're really isolating, they're not talking to their friends, they're not talking to you, I think that's more when you want to be concerned. Now, if it's up and downs with moods, that's more the teenage angst that you were talking about.
Good to know.
And I imagine having conversations with your child
Yes.
Plays such a big role in,
Yes.
you know, getting them help or just addressing the typical teenage moodiness.
Yeah, just being that adult saying, I see you. I see what's going on. Do you want to talk about it? Do you want someone else to talk to you about it? Because that might be an option for them as well. They don't want to talk to their parent about what's going on. It's sometimes easier to talk to somebody that they don't know.
What if, and I'm just gonna, question this. What if the answer is no to both? No, mom, dad, I don't need to talk to you. No, I don't want to talk to somebody else.
I mean, you have to be the adult in the situation. If you're feeling in your parent or adult gut that something needs to happen, I would take them in, see a professional, have a professional evaluate them. I sit with kids that don't really want to be in therapy, but once you build rapport with a kid and they feel safe in that environment, a lot of times they will open up. It just takes time. And they're kids. Sometimes they don't know what they need in the moment.
Yeah, and I imagine for a lot of parents too, they don't know what to do in that moment. There's probably a lot of confusion and anxiety from the parents.
Yeah, and we do a lot of communication with the parents because they have a different perspective than maybe what the child is coming in and telling us. So we do a lot of collaboration, a lot of family work in general.
Okay, so let's go back to the resources. The final bell is going to ring in just a couple of weeks for the school year. What is available? What are the options out there on the table for the family that says, we still rely on these services. We need some help through the next 3 months?
Yeah. Just like what I said, walk-in services are probably your best bet if you're not already connected. But if you are connected, the great thing is that those services don't stop during the summer. You can continue taking your child in for services, but if you need to be connected, walk-in hours are probably your best bet.
All right, and there's a nice graphic that kind of shows everything with these behavioral health locations. And, I'm sure that there's a little bit of intimidation that goes along with that, right? Maybe the student is thinking, well, I don't want to go to my school and, maybe run into somebody I know. What would be your message to them?
That's hard. With the therapists that work in the school systems, particularly what I do, I have a really great relationship with even students I don't see. So it's really viewed as a good thing, honestly. And students will talk to their peers about how good it can be. So just normalizing it, really, that most kids get some sort of therapy or connection in this way, I think would be the best bet.
Well, yeah, and also I would imagine if you don't want to be seen there and you do end up seeing someone, guess what? They're there for help too.
Yeah.
You're not the only one in the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in today. We really appreciate it. And rochesterregional.org is a good place for people to get some more information, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, very good. Thanks for your time. We
Thank you,
appreciate
guys.
it.
Yeah.
We'll post all of this information along with all of our previous conversations on our website, foxrochester.com, after the show this morning.
Much more to come here on ARC Rochester. When we come back, we're going to check in with Chris Lopez, who has the latest on some developing breaking news we've been following overnight.
And don't forget, as you head for the door this Thursday morning, ARC Rochester is streaming live right now on the 13WAM YouTube channel, as well as foxrochester.com and TikTok. We are back on the other side of the break. .842 this morning, we are continuing to follow that breaking news this Thursday. State police telling us a suspect is now in custody following an overnight investigation that shut down a portion of the Throughway.
That section of the roadway has reopened. Chris Lopez is live right near where this incident happened, and he's going to give us an update on what we know so far. Chris, good morning.
Yeah, hey guys. Yeah, we started to get reports of that Throughway closure probably at about 3:30 this morning here, and it was closed both westbound and eastbound on both sides, and that was due to a person that was barricaded in off one side of the freeway. We don't know which one. They were barricaded in with a shotgun, and the reason why both sides of the Throughway were closed was that state police essentially wanted to encapsulate that suspect in so there could be no immediate threat to the public. When I spoke with a law enforcement official probably about 5 o'clock this morning, they told me that they were in a very wooded area off the Throughway and that there was no immediate danger to the public. It wasn't around a business area. It also wasn't around a residential area, and they apprehended that subject or that person really without any struggle. We're told no injuries at all. They opened up both sides of the Throughway As you can see right now, traffic is flowing. Now, what led up to this and why that suspect had a shotgun and why there was a barricade and a standoff, we don't know yet. We're working to find out information. This is still a developing story on that suspect. We don't know the identity of the suspect either, or if they're known to state police, but we're going to work to find out that information as we make our way into the noon shows and into the evening shows, either live or on 13wham.com. This also affected me when I was driving into work from the Canandaigua area. I had to take the Victor exit, which led to the Eastview Mall, and I had to go around to get to the Henrietta station. So this had been going on for pretty early this morning, but as of right now, both sides of the Throughway headed eastbound and westbound I-90 are now open. Guys, back to you.
All right, Mr. Lopez out there for us live. We appreciate it, sir.
Time right now is 8:45. Much more to get to this morning on Arc Rochester.
Stick around. We're back right after this. Summer is just about here, which means the weekends are starting to fill up with fun events that are made for the entire family.
Yeah, today we're getting a look at some of those activities that will get you and the kids out and about. From where we're joined now by our good friend Deb Ross from KidsOutandAbout.com, and you brought your packet.
I always do. I have thousands of things to say. But, you know, typically at this time, we don't say summer's just about here. We say summer is here because this is typically our payoff season. So I'm just saying Mark and Marty really need to get on the stick here about giving us some better weather.
Wow, Deb.
You know,
we have 21 days till the summer solstice.
It's true, but right? I mean, like it should be nicer. Fortunately, next weekend I saw Mark's giving us some better, like Fairport Canal Days is next weekend, and a whole lot of stuff starts heating up. But for this weekend, do not worry. We've got a ton of fun things to do in the Rock, even if it's just a little wet. just a little cold. We just put on a sweater, is all I'm saying. Okay, big weekend experiences this weekend. We've got the second of 2 weekends of Dino Roar at Stokey Farms. These are giant animatronic dinosaurs throughout the farm, throughout the woods. As you drive through, you shoot Nerf guns at them, and then you go back and have the whole Stokey Farms experiences. Kids take home a fossil. This is Saturday
Have a dino feast?
and Sunday. Maybe not a dino feast.
Grilled
Wouldn't that-
dinosaur?
Grilled dinosaur. I'm going to recommend that to them for next year because
Yeah.
kind of this is a traveling thing that comes back
Very
most years.
cool.
This week, let's hope that we don't have too many rainouts. The Rochester Red Wings are playing the Columbus Clippers. I saw them on Monday. You know, the Wings are doing fantastic this year. They've been winning, which is like, but the thing is about community baseball, we almost don't care whether they win because we're there as much for the stuff in between the innings and all the community connections and contests and just sitting there with your neighbors. It's not about politics. It's about what our city does and enjoying it and seeing the skyline and you know, people are nice there. So I absolutely advocate even if not this week, get out to a Red Wings game this summer or 3. This weekend, today through Sunday, is the Rochester Greek Festival.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you don't need lots of sun for that. You just need people who are going to give you delicious food, who are going to show you all of those great dances and music, and just like sort of steep yourself in that.
Deb, do me a favor.
Yes.
It's not spanakopita. It comes wrapped up in, no, it's not baklava.
The gyro?
Okay.
I had a feeling that might be where you were
That's
going.
all I want. Yep, I just wanted a pronunciation
Yep,
from you.
that's the way we do it.
Perfect.
Let's see what else this weekend. Oh, out at Fort Niagara, Old Fort Niagara, on Saturday, there's Native Nations. So we've got Haudenosaunee representatives from all over Western New York giving you a taste of the Native experience, history, culture from way back when through today, because the Haudenosaunee are present, not just past. So I suggest that's a great day trip for Saturday. And let's go to animals, okay? Because this is a time for animals. How about animals and the people who love them? Well, in Macedon, there's a naturalist named Alyssa Rose, and she takes kids on these guided nature walks all throughout the spring and summer. So this Saturday, she has 3 times for a salamander stroll at Bullis Park in Macedon. So she's one of those lessons where if you do it in our community, tell us, we'll spread the word, and then all of a sudden, whoosh, you got tons of people coming to your event. So she is amazing. You can go to the Seneca Park Zoo for a Rise and Shine cart tour on Sunday morning at 8. If you've got those kids who get up at ungodly hours and you need something to do with them, that is the perfect thing for Sunday morning. They do this periodically. How about Saturday morning? There's a birding cruise at Cornhill Navigation right down at the Cornhill Landing. 9:30 in the morning, they will have expert bird guides with you and binoculars, and they will take you on a tour of our region's birds. And if you want to go really extreme on animals, there's goat yoga at Kelkenberg Farm on Sunday morning from 9:15 to 10. That's out west.
Look at that.
Why
No,
not,
come
right?
on.
Everybody needs a twist on their, get active out there activities. I'm telling you, why not? I mean, I've not done it before, but I really should.
Well, look at those. Look at that
know.
little baby goat. Who wouldn't want to do yoga with that thing?
That's true. Let's see, what else for help kids get active? If it's raining a lot this weekend, we've got a kids staff ballet at Rock Ventures in the city on University Avenue on Sunday. Or on Friday, tomorrow morning, you could do yoga out at Ganondagan from 7:30 until 8:30 in Victor. So that is out in a beautiful environment as well. Continuing the nature theme, we have Ellwanger Open Garden Days at the Ellwanger Garden on Mount Hope Avenue. That is Saturday and Sunday. It is Rose and Peony Days this weekend. Not sure how many roses will be out, but the peonies are there. Again, Marty, give us the sun, please. I have a complicated relationship with the sun ever since last year's cloudy day eclipse.
Yeah.
So, that's always sort of hanging over all of the things I'm thinking about for now.
That's fair.
We've got music this week, and of course, we've got now the Strasbourg Planetarium is now playing Laser Billie Eilish.
Ooh.
So so if that's your jam, that's on Saturday evenings. Watch lasers with Billie. We've got Beautiful, the Carole King musical that opens this weekend, and we've got maybe Going for Baroque at the Memorial Art Gallery on
Love
Sunday.
it. Deb, but you do more than just kids out and about. What's the website for parents who are sending their kids off to school?
So we've got the website for empty nesters, which is beyondthenest.com. It is our sister site. So not just kids out and about, Beyond the Nest. We've got you covered no matter your age.
Boom. Deb Ross, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Time right now is 8:54. Much more to come this morning on Arc Rochester.
We're back on the other side of the break.
Much more to get to this morning on Arc Rochester as we continue into the 9 o'clock hour. Stephanie Joseph will be breaking down some of our top political headlines.
Yeah, she joins us now from the live desk with a preview of what we can expect at 9. Hey there, Steph.
Hey there, guys. In today's political pulse, the three Democratic candidates in the race to be Rochester's mayor faced off in a debate last night. Hear from each hopeful as they took on questions about a variety of topics, including the future of the PAB and the city's sanctuary status. I speak with our own Daniel Finkelstein to recap the debate. That's all coming up in our 9 o'clock hour. Arc Rochester returns right after this.
this Thursday morning, May 29th. Thanks for joining us or sticking with us on ARC Rochester. I'm Abby Fridman.
And I'm Dan Schrack. That is meteorologist Mark McLean. We'll get an update on the forecast from him in just a couple of minutes. First, we want to turn to Stephanie Joseph at the live desk with your Thursday morning news break.
Here are some of the top local stories that we're following this Thursday. One person is in custody in connection to an overnight incident that shut down part of the New York State Thruway. State police say the shutdown started around milepost 357 near Mendon Center Road and involved a person barricaded inside a car with a shotgun. They say there was no danger to the public, and that section of the Thruway is now back open. A Rochester man is facing charges after an armed robbery at an AT&T store in Ontario County. State police say 25-year-old Kareem Boucher pulled a gun on employees in Hopewell, forcing them to open a safe. He got away with more than $15,000 in phones and accessories, but troopers tracked him down and made the arrest within 2 hours. Happening today, a court update in the case of 7 people accused in the brutal murder of a transgender man. The defendants, including Thomas Eves, Precious Arzwaga, and 5 others, have all pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder, kidnapping, and conspiracy. Prosecutors say the group tortured, beat, and starved 33-year-old Sam Nordquist for weeks and left his body in a field in Yates County back in February. Today's court session is an information update, but it's unclear if the defendants will appear in person. Turning now to chaos outside Darien Lake on Memorial Day, and it was all caught on camera. The Genesee County Sheriff's Office says 2 separate fights broke out in the parking lot after the park closed on Monday. Deputies deployed pepperball guns to break up the crowd and restore order. One witness told 13 Wham she's never seen anything like it. Thankfully, though, no injuries were reported, and as of this morning, no charges have been filed. We've reached out to Darien Lake for comment, but have not yet heard back. For all these top stories and any updates, be sure to visit 13wham.com. Back to you.
All right, Steph, thanks. We are going to get to the forecast now and our answer to today's weather trivia. Mark is here, and you also brought some of your little buddies with you.
Where'd they come from, right? So it's kind of a little tease ahead to 9:30. That's the seed tray that we started up about, 4 weeks ago or so? And the goal is to have it in the ground soon.
Okay, nice.
I mean, it looks great.
Yeah.
It looks absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Dan is...
I am going to, but move that coffee real quick.
Okay.
I'm just going to turn it to the side so
You get a side view?
a better view of what you can have.
Of you thieving the
I am.
lettuce?
I'm going to try a piece of both of the lettuces.
Okay. That'll wash down great with coffee, by the way.
Listen, I'm sure it'll be delicious, you know?
Oh, boy.
All right. We're going to get to that 9:30,
we
yes?
will. Yeah,
okay.
9:30 from the ground up. Let's talk about the trivia. So the question for today, this layer of Earth's atmosphere is the hottest layer of Earth's atmosphere. And was it the mesosphere, the thermosphere, the exosphere, or the troposphere?
Okay, I know my answer. Based on my context clues, I'm going to guess B.
Yeah, look at this. You know what? Sounds the hottest, is the hottest layer of the Earth's atmosphere. Thermo. Doesn't that just sound hot?
Amy says
Just a guess based on its name.
Right, yeah, right. So it is. And this is the layer, believe it or not, the International Space Station actually is in this layer of the Earth's atmosphere. So it's a very, very super thin. So like in this studio right now, we have billions of air molecules. But you get into this layer of Earth's atmosphere, the next closest air molecule would be from you to like West Henrietta Road. So that's how thin the atmosphere gets in this layer. But the interesting part, yeah, B is the answer. The interesting part here is that the temperature of this layer varies from about 500 to 1500 degrees, and it's based on the solar cycle. So the sunspot cycle, when the sun has a lot of little sunspots, little beauty marks on it, the temperature...
Celsius, Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit, yeah. The temperature of this layer will go up to like 1500 degrees, so that it expands out a little bit more. And then when the sun is blank or spotless, the temperature of this layer drops back by quite a bit, maybe 500-600 degrees Fahrenheit.
See, and in all those movies, you think to yourself, like, oh, how cold space is.
Yeah. But this isn't the kind of heat you would feel because of how thin the atmosphere is. It's like taking out all of the insulation out of your house, and then you've got like 1 square inch of your house that has the best insulation on planet Earth. You know, so it's more of like that kind of thing.
Kind of microwaves cooking you from the inside.
Well, it's all the high intensity ultraviolet from the sun heating up molecular oxygen. Some of the ozone, some of the lighter elements that try to try to escape out into space, and do eventually, even with Earth's gravity. But let's talk about the forecast. Let's take a look at this. These two, Buddy and Neptune. Oh, they're going to have wet paws this morning. Sorry, guys. Even though the rain is done, the grass is wet and the sidewalk still has puddles. But drying out tomorrow and the weekend weather, we do have some showers around for Saturday. But the trend next week is in our favor, right? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It's going to be pool time, deck time, finally getting outside as this wet weather pattern fades away. Look at this last couple of days. We've had almost 0.7 of an inch of rain, and that was after that 3-day stretch where we did dry out just a little bit, but we could use some more dry time, that's for sure. There are some breaks in the clouds now. If you look, the ceiling is at 4,100 feet, so that's pretty low. Southwest wind at 9 miles per hour, we're up to 60. And a lot of the showers that we had earlier today, they're still drifting off to the east out towards Syracuse as that low spins away. So this is going to be the last in a series of these lows that have been kind of plaguing us since early May. It's going to get out of here begrudgingly slow, but there is going to be another wave of low pressure that develops south of this, right along the coast. Watch this. We'll open up the view towards the weekend, and you see that system moving towards New York City, Philadelphia. Eventually, it's going to be Boston, probably Saturday night, Sunday. And those areas are going to get a steady rain and cool temps just like we will for Saturday. The weekend weather, quick look at this. We have temps in the 50s for Saturday, passing shower, cool, damp gray, north breeze 10 to 20, and then we'll start to dry out for Sunday, back to the low 60s with a little bit of sunshine. So our temps today, kind of what you see is what you get. We may make the upper 60s if that sun pops out this afternoon. We have hope for that. And, back to the mid 50s tonight. The 7-day forecast will look at this. I mean, it's the trend everybody's been waiting for.
It shapes up.
I shouldn't say everybody. I know there's a few out there that do like the cool air, but I'm not shocked if we're in the low to mid 80s by Wednesday, and possibly beyond that for Thursday, Friday. It might be the first time some folks are using the AC this season.
Jeez, that would be. I mean, listen, I get what you're saying. I appreciate all of the people out there that like the cooler air,
Yeah.
but it is this time of year.
Yeah.
You're kind of expecting it at this point.
You just had your favorite. Now somebody else gets their favorite. That's why a lot of people choose to live here in this climate, because there's a variety.
Yeah.
You go to other parts of the country and there's not a lot of variety. It depends on the season. Down in Florida it quote gets cool, but that's like 60s, right?
Yeah,
That's
60 and humid.
60 in February. Up here is a heat wave.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, sounds good.
Yep.
Thank you, sir. All right, we're talking plants coming up when?
9:30.
9:30.
Yep.
Very good.
Yep.
Time right now is 9:07. We still have a lot to get to coming up in the next hour on ARC Rochester. When we come back, we're going to talk about the importance of protecting your intellectual property.
And don't forget, you can catch us on the go wherever you are. We're streaming live right now on the 13 Wham YouTube channel and foxrochester.com. ARC Rochester is back after this. 10 this morning, the internet is brimming with content, and creatives everywhere are constantly coming up with new ideas. And one thing that's been important to be aware of is intellectual property and what exactly that means.
A new tool is helping creators figure out the differences between patents, trademarks, copyrights, and much more.
Joining us now to explain it is Deputy Executive Director of Intellectual Property Owners Education Foundation, Kristen Lurie. Good morning, Kristen. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So for someone sitting at home who says, okay, wait a second, what is intellectual property? Is that just an idea? Explain it to us.
Intellectual property refers to creations of the mind. So inventions, designs, artistic works, they are all around us in our everyday life, and we want to be able to protect those through patents, trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets.
Okay, so why should the average Joe care about this? They're thinking, okay, well, like, I have a lot of ideas every single day. How can this benefit me?
Absolutely. Well, first off, intellectual property is surrounding our everyday lives, whether you realize it or not. From the medications you take first thing in the morning to the technology you might scroll on or watch at the end of the day, we are surrounded by things protected by intellectual property rights. And if you are an innovator, an aspiring innovator yourself, you work so hard to come up with these innovations that you want to be able to protect them. And whether you want to produce a product and sell it and have exclusivity, or you want to generate funding or partner with organizations or others, you want to make sure that you're aware of how to protect your hard work.
Okay, so let's dive into that then. Let's say I've got my small business and I've created this product. I've come up with this really cool invention. It's starting to gain traction. And I think to myself, okay, I want to, safeguard myself from anyone else copying me and really going to the bank with it. How do I do that?
Well, good thing, IP Education Foundation, we've just created a tool called IP Buddy. It is an AI assistant that you can access to learn more about intellectual property rights. You can choose from one of 4 avatars, 2 lifelike and 2 animated, and you can ask it questions like it's a coach or a friend, your buddy. And you can ask questions to learn more about different ways to protect your innovation, whether it is a product and it makes sense to pursue a patent, or maybe you just want to protect your brand and you need to learn more about trademarks. This is an easy, simple, accessible way to do that through IP Buddy.
So will the AI bot be pretty honest with people if they say, hey, I have this idea for whatever? Will the bot be like, that's a terrible idea, or is it kind of like motivating?
We hope it's motivating and friendly. It is not in the place of an IP attorney, and so
it's a valid question.
Okay,
it is.
all right, maybe not terrible, but will they be honest? Will they say okay, it needs to be refined a little bit, or maybe you should tweak thus and such, or for the most part,
help you cultivate the idea.
Well, we don't want to get in the way of the ability for you to protect your idea. So we do want you to use this free resource to learn more about how to protect your idea, but there are guidelines around when you can disclose your idea, how far after that you need to apply for a patent. And so starting with IP Buddy to learn more about, okay, I have an idea in this space, what are the different ways that I can protect it? I would start with that. It's not going to give you legal advice or maybe tweak your invention necessarily, but it'll make sure that you're familiar with how it is that you can protect that invention.
I mean, it's really interesting. And what sort of response are you seeing? How many people do you know are logging in and seeking guidance from artificial intelligence now on how to, flourish and make their business grow?
Absolutely. I mean, we have seen thousands of users, and this is a brand new tool that we just launched. We recently talked to some college students who work with IP attorneys at their university, but it's a really intimidating process. And so if you're able to use IP Buddy in a safe, simple way to learn a little bit about the fundamentals before you go into the big bad world, and whether it's talking to an IP attorney or pitching your idea, this is a really simple, a fun way to learn the fundamentals, to make sure you've got the foundation to make sure that your idea, your brand gets off the ground in an appropriate way, and you protect your hard work and your financial resources that you put into these things.
That is really, really interesting. Gosh, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it. If somebody is wanting to learn more information, what's a good way for them to get that?
Absolutely. We hope that you try our new free tool, IP Buddy, at ipbuddy.ai, or you can visit our website at ipoef.org.
We're going to do it after the show, and if that thing says, I'm sorry, that's a terrible idea, we're going to come at you, okay?
All right, give me a call. We'll talk about it.
All right, thank you so much.
Hey, when we come back, Steph will be here breaking down some of our top political headlines.
Your political pulse coming your way next.
It's time for Political Pulse Check here on ARC Rochester. This morning, we're taking a closer look at last night's mayoral debate ahead of the upcoming June primary. Now, incumbent Mayor Malik Evans is facing challenges from current city council member Mary Lupian and businessman Shashi Sinha, each answering questions from panelists and the community about how they would address key issues the Flower City is facing. Now, among those topics, safety, policing, and homelessness. 13 WHAM's Daniel Finkelstein was covering last night's debate for us and joins us now with a recap. Daniel, there's a lot to get into, so I guess the first thing I want to start with is one of the first questions that was asked. So the city sanctuary status, the future of it, and different elements like that, specifically the legal implications going on right now. There was a lot that was said, people taking on the Trump administration directly multiple times, but specifically with this question. What did you make of what each of the candidates said about how they would respond to the future of this status?
Well, thank you for having me on, Stephanie. It's always a pleasure to be on with you guys in the mornings. Definitely a lot of uncertainty there, and the city is navigating an appeal. Obviously, the Trump administration a few weeks back filed a lawsuit against the city challenging the city's sanctuary city status and is involved in an appeal with that decision. So it's not immediately clear to me, although I do feel like that's an area where a lot of the candidates had some commonality. They are in solidarity with the sanctuary status and are all vowing to protect it.
Mm-hmm. That is for sure. I do want to turn to some sound from each of the candidates when it came to this topic, and then I'll ask you a quick follow-up about what Shashi Sinha had to say.
We absolutely are committed to our policy. It has stood the test of time since 1986. The 10th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution is clear. We're not violating the law. All we're saying is that we are not going to use our resources to participate in immigration enforcement.
We are going to protect our people. We will not turn our back on our immigrant population. It is incredibly important that we stand together.
But at the same time, we have to think about how do we save federal funding. So it's a complicated issue. Do we stay sanctuary city? Yes, I'm fully committed to saving our community, our immigrant community.
And I think an interesting point there that you didn't hear from the two other candidates, but specifically Sinha, was that concern about federal funding. We have seen multiple times from the Trump administration funding being pulled from certain areas, specifically universities, in response to some of the policies here. What did you make of that specific topic being brought up? We're taking a federal lens and now focusing it on the local side of things.
Sure. Well, in addition to the Trump administration's lawsuit against the city for the sanctuary city status, there was an executive order, as I gather, a few weeks back that was challenging federal.
Technical difficulties at this moment. Looking to see if we can get Daniel back in just a second. But he was talking about the city's sanctuary status and some of the executive actions that have been taken from the Trump administration, specifically with a direct lens on Rochester. There were several other topics that were brought up specifically last night. When it came to the Police Accountability Board, a lot of the candidates had different views on how they would take on this specific topic as the PAB is currently appealing a recent ruling. So let's see if we can turn to that spot right now to hear what they had to say.
As mayor, the Police Accountability Board would not be under my control, and that's by design. It's under City Council to have that separation, and so it would be up to them to do with it what they will.
Still will be some type of role. It may not be the size that it is right now, but there's still room for policy, procedure, as well as still advising the chief, as well as city council and the mayor on ways in which we can improve.
In terms of PAB, with the current ruling, it has become clear that they don't have any power left to any enforcement or even do investigation. I come from business world. When something doesn't work, you stop it and do something that actually works.
Now, we were able to get Daniel back, so glad you could join us. We did transition to the next topic, talking about the Police Accountability Board, and you had just heard there three different opinions when it came to the future of the board. I do want to say there was one topic specifically, the topic of accountability. It did seem like a place where all three candidates had agreed.
I didn't catch Mary Lupien's little bit that you had there, and I just want to make sure that you can hear me all right. Mm-hmm. I do, again, this is another area where I feel like they did have some commonality. The city's Police Accountability Board has faced challenges since its inception. And with the latest Locust Club victory, definitely another area where there is some uncertainty. Obviously, that sweeping court decision has prevented the PAB from taking any part in disciplining officers or compelling testimony or conducting investigations. What I do think is interesting is there was some separation between Lupien and Sinha specifically, where Sinha outright said, when something isn't working, you stop it. And I think I'm not quite hearing that from Lupien yet. I think she's been an ardent supporter of the PAB, obviously, but what I'm gathering from what she said is that she's more open to seeing it in an advisory role.
Yeah, and I think that that was something that also Mayor Evans had touched on a little bit last night, just talking about the review element of things. Obviously, we're still waiting to see what the court decision will be after the appeals process, but I think each one of them definitely had their own takeaways from what the future could look like given what may happen in court. I do want to transition, though, to another topic, a major topic that I know that you've been following in our region, specifically the topic of homelessness. And there was a point where you had heard Mary Lupian address Mayor Evans directly to ask him a question. Let's see if we can play that shot here.
Mayor Evans, will you commit to ending the sweeps?
We don't do homeless sweeps.
That's not accurate.
In the city of Rochester,
That's
we never
not
have.
accurate.
Anytime we work, we make sure that we are putting people, connecting them with resources.
So, Daniel, as somebody who has been on the front lines of seeing the work of advocacy workers out there, what do you think of the mayor's current response, but also of Mary Lupian talking about these sweeps specifically, having done reporting yourself?
Sure. So that's a moment of disagreement there in the debate. Just for background for our viewers watching at home, what Mary Lupian is referencing there is an incident that happened before Christmas. It was about 5 days before Christmas, and there was a homeless encampment that was swept, as she says, under the South Clinton Avenue Bridge. And many of the people who were living under that bridge did not accept some of the resources that were offered to them by outreach workers. Mary Lupian has been very vocal about wanting to see the barriers for shelters eliminated because she feels that they're obviously, and I apologize for losing my train of thought, but they get in the way of people seeking help. Malik Evans and his administration were very, what they felt in that moment was that to leave people out in the cold, and this was one of the coldest days of the year, is not humane. And so they emphasized the FIT team and some of the other outreach organizations. So that would be my take on that.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And I think another element was just the nuanced factor of things. A topic that continued to come up with various issues was just about different areas needing to collaborate in order to address things. I believe substance use was one element, education, the economy, for example. But thank you so much, Daniel, for joining us this morning, giving us that very thorough recap of last night's events. We'll be sure to keep up with you as we continue to look at the primary in June.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, Stephanie.
And just another reminder that the Democratic primary is June 24th, with the winner moving on to face conservative candidate Luis Sabo in November. Reverend Clifford Florence Sr. is no longer in the running after failing to meet the requirements to run as an independent. The final ballot will be certified in the first week of September. And for more on this story and to watch the full debate, be sure to visit 13wham.com. Stick around, ARC Rochester is back after this.
Good Thursday morning. Thanks so much for sticking with us here on ARC Rochester. The gang is all here for this week's edition of From the Ground Up.
Yeah.
Is that the sound effect?
That's the official sound effect. We're waiting
Every
to have
Thursday?
that put in.
How do you feel about that?
It's like trying to make fetch happen.
Good stuff.
Wow. Wow.
Amazing.
Okay.
We've had
Amazing.
Steph on the show for how long, and she's finally given it back to
Yeah.
me.
All right.
Love
Listen, I won't do it anymore. Okay.
All right. We'll talk
You
about
guys will miss it.
We'll talk about some of this stuff, that we have here coming up. But this week's segment was about annuals versus perennials. This is one of the big topics. People come into the garden center, and a lot of them don't know. It seems simple for a lot of gardeners that have been doing it for years. It's obviously 101 gardening, but for anybody that's starting out, it's a big topic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Roll it. Annual, perennial, what is it and what does it mean, and how do we grow them and keep them healthy? We're at the Garden Factory. I've got Marissa McTiernan here with me, and she is the general manager of the Garden Factory. We're talking about annuals first, then we'll head outside and get to those perennials. But you've got some of your favorites here, huh?
We do, yes.
Okay, and this one right here, we've got, what do we have?
A zinnia.
Okay, and for growing a zinnia, what does this little plant love?
They love full sun and a lot of good, well-draining soil.
Okay, and you get it to the right spot, and how big is it going to get?
So this is short stuff. So the varieties we grow tend to be on the shorter side. You can get really big ones.
Okay.
But these ones will tend to get usually around like 12 to 15 inches.
Okay, and you see a fan favorite right here, this one right here.
The geraniums?
Yeah.
Yep. Love full sun. These are classic. Everybody
Yeah.
loves geraniums.
And can these be put away for the season, brought back out next year? Ever?
People try it, and
Yeah.
you know what? They do have success, but we just grow these for the season. But there are certain people that will bring them inside and bring them back out, but they don't ever usually look quite like this when they do that.
Okay, and we have some vinca here, sun lover, right?
Yes, love sun.
Is this one of the most drought-tolerant plants, heat-tolerant plants?
Yes, vinca does well. Our marigolds do really well. The portulaca also can do really well with a little bit of drought.
And how big will one of these little plants get?
So these will spread. So these will get pretty wide and big for you.
Oh, that's very good. Now, not everywhere is sunny, so we do have some plants that tolerate a little bit more shade.
Yep. So
And
these are wax begonias.
Okay.
These do really well in shade.
Okay.
Also our New Guinea impatiens.
Okay.
These do really well. Just
Perfect.
pinch the flowers off and they're going to be flowering all summer for you.
Do you have to pinch the flowers off on these?
You don't have to, but it encourages the new growth to come out quicker. But they do tend to fall off eventually, but it does look cleaner if you do pinch them off.
Oh, that's really good to know. And you have caladiums, right? Is that?
So this is a sweet potato vine, actually.
Oh, it is sweet potato.
Yep,
It's
so
throwing
this
me
is
off by that leaf.
I know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this is a good if you're looking for something
Yeah.
trailing in your containers.
Oh,
this
cool.
is great to use.
Cool.
There's a few different colors of these. We got a really nice bright green too.
And you grabbed another one of your favorites right over
Yep,
there,
so
right?
this is great if you're looking for height in a container. This is a
Ooh.
purple fountain grass.
That's pretty.
Annual here, but that'll give you nice height.
And it is done after the season. It
Yes,
is not
it
going to
is.
come back.
Correct,
Okay,
yep.
so now we have to talk about perennials, the difference between the annual and the perennial, and we'll head outside and look at some of those. Okay, so now we're out in the perennials at the Garden Factory. Marissa, I don't think that we covered, what's the difference between an annual and a perennial?
Yeah, it's a good question. So annuals, you're going to get all season of color, spring through fall, but they're just going to last the season.
Okay, so the first frost, the first sub 32, it's game
Yep,
over, right?
exactly. So the beauty of those is you're going to have color all season.
Yeah.
Perennials, they're going to come back every year, but they might not flower the entire season. So
Okay.
that's why it's good to have a mix of both.
And we've grabbed a couple of our favorites here. I've got the sage, and you've got your
The Shasta
Shasta.
daisy.
What do you need to know if you want to grow perennials like these?
So you just have to make sure you're putting them in a spot that they're going to do well. These that we have here do well in a full sun area.
Okay.
We do have a ton of perennials if you have a shadier spot, and we actually keep them underneath the shade structure. So the main thing is you're finding something that's going to do well in your area.
Okay, and some of the favorite sun perennials, if we had to list out 2 or 3 of the fan favorites here, what would they be?
People love coneflowers, lavender we sell a ton of, black-eyed Susans.
Well, we're standing under the shade tarp now at the Garden Factory. Why do these plants here need this above them?
So these can't handle the bright direct sun quite like the other ones we just looked at. So
Okay.
we keep them under the shade structure so they don't get burned by the sun.
And there's some favorites in here. I see the hosta, they're unmistakable. The astilbes are here. What are some of the other fan favorites?
Yep, behind you we have coral bells which come in a ton of different colors. So those are great to add some color to a shady spot.
Look at the color on that.
We've
right
got
there.
Jacob's Ladder. This is actually a native here. A lot of people love natives. They're looking for natives.
Wow.
So anything you see in these pots here are a native.
That's
So
great.
that's good to know. We've got bleeding hearts. Those do really well in the shade, and you're going to get these cute little heart-shaped flowers.
Now, these plants love shade, but if they are going to see sun, what kind of sun should they see? What side of the house should they be?
Yeah, so these should be on like a north or east side of the house, just morning sun.
Okay.
And they'll be okay there.
Duration of sunlight, how much direct sun can they handle?
Direct sun, not a whole lot. Try and keep it around 4 to 5 hours of sun in the morning.
Yep.
If they get a little bit of afternoon sun early, that's okay, but you really want to keep it just the morning sun.
Anything we should know about trimming them back in the fall? It could be the shade perennials or it could be the sun perennials.
Yep, so you can cut them back. These are all going to die back to the ground and then regrow next year.
Yeah, so that's the big difference. You know, a lot of folks see the word annual and they think my plant's going to come back annually.
Yeah.
And that is not the case. You know,
you've got to do the work annually.
Yes, you're buying more plants annually. You know, I mean that's just the way it goes up here. You know, if you're down in Florida, these things will go all year. Some of them they'll be perennial down in Florida.
Some of them, though, some of the annuals, you can dig the bulbs up.
Sure.
Correct?
Sure. Yeah, like a dahlia or something like that. Elephant ears, I love elephant ears.
Yeah.
You know, they're bulbs. They come back in, you dry them out, you put them in your basement, someplace dark and quiet, and you come back to them late April and May next year.
Okay, that was going to be my question.
Yeah.
Like, do you have to dig them out, or will they just kind of like disappear on their own?
So it depends on the winter and it depends on the frost depth. But things like gladiolas, you know, bulbs like those, some of them will make it through. Some of them will not make it through. So if you leave those in the ground, you know, season after season, you will eventually have to replant all of them because they'll fade over time. But we've experienced some winters where that was actually the case.
All right, we're running low on time, but this looks awesome here. All of our little growth.
This was our seed tray that we started 4 weeks ago.
That's incredible.
I mean, look at I mean, it's just popped out. Of course, we had the advantage of growing this in a greenhouse at the garden factory. But the lettuce is ready to go. Our tomatoes are just about ready. The marigolds here on the end are looking pretty good. Actually, they've got some buds showing already. And the rest of these veggies back here, hopefully these will be in the ground next week. And hopefully we'll be putting some of those in the ground on the air next week. The weather has not been great for some of our
really
plans,
has not.
but has shown some signs of improvement, and we think we're going to get there.
Yeah, sunshine ahead for you guys.
Yeah, yep.
All right, McLean, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Time right now is 9:38. When we come back, we're taking a look at some of the stories that have people talking this Friday Eve morning.
Hey, and don't forget, you can watch us on the go wherever you are. Arc Rochester is streaming live right now on the 13 Wham YouTube channel. Stick around. We're back after this. was fancy.
No. All right.
Magic, here we are.
Time now for Trending Now, and we're going to start with the DoorDash driver that's sharing a horrific experience she had while she was on the job.
Okay, so according to the sheriff's deputies in Harris County, Texas, a DoorDash driver was delivering an order to a man who allegedly opened the door to her. Oh, man. And he did it completely naked.
All right. I got a lot of problems with this.
I got a lot of problems with you people.
No,
and you're going to hear about
I'm
it.
serious. All right.
I agree.
So the DoorDash driver described the experience. She was delivering a 24-pack of Budweiser. When she arrived at the apartment complex, she noticed the door was halfway open.
So she knocked on the door, and then she was met by a 210-pound, 53-year-old man with long hair, fully naked.
The woman told deputies she was extremely uncomfortable and in shock, but she did ask the man to put some clothes on. She says the man stood in the doorway for a few seconds, giggled, and then took his beer.
After the encounter, she alerted the man's apartment leasing office and called 911. That man was charged with indecent exposure. However, at the moment, deputies have not been able to locate him or take him into custody.
A lot of people on social media weighing in, describing their own delivery service horror stories. Unfortunately, nude or partially naked handoffs are pretty common.
It's awful.
Yeah.
And I think when you order any sort of alcoholic beverage, I'm fairly certain you have to show ID for those things. So him just taking it, no good.
Yeah.
But in that situation, I can't see why she wouldn't have, I'm not going to stand there and wait for an ID.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And, you know who your delivery driver is before they get to your house. So he probably knew that a woman would be there.
That's true.
And,
Didn't even think of that.
It's inappropriate and it's harassment, and I'm glad that she called the police. I hope they find him because that's really disturbing.
Yeah.
As a reporter, I can't tell you how many times it's been a couple. I've had to door knock and...
you don't like what you find.
You don't like what you find on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Handful of times.
Yeah.
Just too many times.
Yeah. You just don't answer the door. Don't answer the door. It's not appropriate. All right, let's talk about coffee. It's notorious, Starbucks, for being rather expensive for a cup of brew. But how much is your Starbucks habit killing your budget? That's the question we're asking.
All right, so the coffee company Coffeeness conducted a study to determine just exactly how many minutes Americans must work in order to afford their daily coffee.
Ooh, okay. So the team gathered the average price of just a regular coffee and a Starbucks coffee in each state.
It then used the data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics to identify average hourly earnings of each state. Now, the findings are the basic 1 cup of coffee, no add-ins, no extra fluff, just the coffee.
Now, New Yorkers, for a basic cup of Joe, have to work 5.2 minutes. For Starbucks, it's 8.8 minutes.
So it might not seem like a lot with these small numbers, but in reality, the cost of coffee equals over 13% of an hour's work.
That's a chunk of time. New York isn't even the worst of all the states, though. To afford Starbucks in Arkansas, you have to work 10.39 minutes.
Yikes. The least expensive place to afford Starbucks is in Washington, D.C. You'd only have to work for 5.67 minutes.
How many cups of Starbucks could we buy then from doing the morning show? Somebody who's fast math. I can't remember what New York's number.
How many minutes is the morning show?
I can't remember what New York's number is for Starbucks.
Five something?
8?
Yes.
8.8? 8.08?
8.08.
Okay. So we're on the air for 5 hours, 60 minutes an hour. 5 times 60 is?
300? No. 5 times 60? Mm-hmm. I don't know. What is it? Dan, what's
No one has a calculator?
Wait, I've got it. Hold on. Okay, I was right. It's 300.
300.
Hold on.
Okay.
I got it.
So 300 divided by 5.02?
Wait. You're too fast.
It's really... Oh, yeah, no, because it's minutes, not money.
What do I put in?
500. That's how I am, too. How much?
37, according to that math you gave me.
Okay, we could buy 37 cups of Starbucks?
In 1 hour.
In 1 hour.
In 1 hour?
Isn't, or in the whole day? The whole day? The
No,
whole day?
isn't it? We were just figuring out for the
That's
show.
what we were doing for the show.
Wow. don't trust us when it comes to calculators or math.
Well, it's hard when you get put on the spot like that.
Well, I know. And listen, I don't even think I gave you the right numbers to be working with, to be quite honest. Stick around. When Arc Rochester returns, we're revealing the new flavor coming to Molly V's homemade ice cream.
We may not be good at math, but we're really good at eating.
Yes.
So we're back after this.
Days in an ice cream shop at one point?
I don't know. Maybe it's a new
kind of
career.
impressive.
Maybe it's a new career
Professional.
coming here.
The votes have been counted, folks, and this morning we are super excited to be announcing the next big flavor of homemade ice cream coming to Molly V's homemade ice cream.
Yeah, Mike Vistoco joins us this morning with the 4 finalists for the competition, and we're going to be trying them out. We are very excited to give the big reveal coming up in just a little bit. But Mike, for somebody who's unfamiliar, give us a little overview of what the competition has been like.
So what happened, it was about a couple months ago, we had customers come in and they filled out a form, what flavor they would like to see. We had about 250 entries, and I gave all those entries to the judges. Stephanie was one judge.
Woo, Steph.
Mike Murphy from the Democrat and Chronicle was one. The Ontario County Sheriff, Dave Serencione, was a judge. Katie Van Bortel and Van Bortel Chevrolet was a judge, and the final one was the food service director of Victor Schools, Alex DeWitt Teeple.
Very
so
cool.
the 5 judges narrowed it down to 4.
Wow. How many ice creams did the 5 judges get to eat to begin?
So they were just options. So we read through like 60 plus pages of different entries, and they were separated by categories.
And
so
you
that
made
was
all
great.
of them?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's a lot of ice cream. Wow.
I made the final 4. Actually, I live on your station.
Yes, I remember that. That was
Chris.
an exciting morning, and I'm sure very stressful for you. So thank you for doing that.
I didn't know I was going to make all 4 that morning, but we made them.
Right.
I love it. All right, you want to walk us through and we'll start taste testing?
Sure. So the first one is a chocolate cookie dough swirl, which is this one. So here's
Oh, great. Okay.
taste test.
Thank you. All right. And Steph, this is the second time that you're tasting
Right.
this, yes?
No,
First
that's
time.
first time.
First time.
Oh, it
okay.
is?
So
Judges were just voting on flavor
Okay.
ideas, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Makes sense now.
That's good.
So this is the first one.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
it's a chocolate ice cream with cookie dough pieces and a peanut butter swirl.
That's really good.
And Dan's not eating it.
No, I've got.
She's
what do
got
I
a
have?
strawberry sorbet that's sugar-free, dairy-free, 0 calories.
See, for me, it's all
Is it
about the
free or
peanut
is
butter.
it still fun?
No, do you want to?
No, I'm good. You enjoy.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. What did I have last time? I had a mango
You
something.
had a mango sorbet. Yes.
You guys know how to do it too.
Yeah, really good. This is
Yeah, it is.
cookie dough is like my favorite. So anything, I'm kind of like
Describe the taste for us.
The peanut butter.
chocolatey. Peanut butter.
Yeah, that comes
That
through, but
that
it's not
sells it.
overpowering.
No, it's not. It's
Yeah.
not.
You can't go wrong with peanut butter
No,
in
ever.
ice cream.
Very balanced.
I like it.
Do you want to go to the second one?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Yep.
So the second one here is the Coffee Bliss.
Okay.
So it's a coffee ice cream with swirls of caramel throughout, roasted almonds, Heath bars, and chocolate pieces.
Chocolate pieces. Okay.
Oh, Heath bars, people.
Uh-oh.
That was a popular one. A lot of people
How
liked
can you
it.
not?
Whoa.
Oh, man.
Shoot, that
This
is
one has some
really
flavor.
Good.
You sound like Chris Lopez when
What is
he
it,
was
the
on a
caramel?
couple weeks ago.
I know.
Well, we
This
made
one.
fun
No,
of
this
him.
one.
We
Right.
made
Kept
fun.
saying-
I'm not declaring a winner by any means, but this is also very good, and I love coffee too.
That's really good.
How much coffee goes into the coffee ice cream?
So I use decaf when I make the coffees. People come in, like little kids come in, they want coffee, and the parents were, is it decaf or is it caffeinated? And I said, no, I use decaf coffee when I make my coffee.
Except for the bad kids. You give them the stuff with the real
Yeah, right.
caffeine
And then I
give
send
them a
them home.
puppy. Yeah.
That's
Oh my
amazing.
gosh.
So that was
That's super good.
the Coffee Bliss.
Yeah.
The next one is called Elvis Presley.
Elvis.
Oh.
I see what you did there.
So
You know, this one just looks fun. All
It does.
the ingredients inside, it looks good.
Yep, so it's banana ice cream with swirls of chocolate and peanut butter, along with pretzels and bacon bits.
Bacon bits. That's what I was just going to ask you. What's the red thing?
Oh.
That's
Oh.
insane.
That's the flavor range right there.
That's what.
The bacon, the
There's a
the
lot
salt
happening.
on the pretzel and the bacon hitting at the same time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Hitting in the right way.
Oh yeah.
So I gave the customers, when they came in, they had a little baggie. They had 4 little taste test samples with a token, and they put the token in the box that they wanted to choose.
Oh, okay.
So I had no idea which one they chose, but it was fun for them. They enjoyed it.
All right. We got 1 minute left.
And the last one,
All right.
it's the
Thank you.
Grandma's cookie drawer. So
Okay.
it's white chocolate ice cream with shortbread cookies with a raspberry swirl.
I have never
I
heard
love
of
it.
white
I'm
chocolate
with you.
ice
I'm
cream,
with
but
you,
it
Steph.
sounds incredible.
Sounds killer.
It's a little sweeter than dark chocolate,
Yeah.
but it's
Whoa. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Okay, what do we?
I don't want to say you're missing out, but
It's
you're
the
missing out.
raspberry.
Jason.
Probably am.
Warming.
Okay.
All right, so the votes are in. The tokens have been counted.
You ready?
Let's
Yeah.
go
You
for it.
just want to go to the first place, or you want to go?
Let's go right to the winner.
Right to the winner. So they won by 45% of the vote. I had over 200 and something tokens. It was Grandma's cookie drawer.
Wow. Who made it?
I didn't want to reveal the name.
Oh,
'cause
okay,
I wanted to
okay.
let her know first.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
That's
yep,
fair. That's
yep.
fair. When can people start to get this kind?
Probably within a week.
Wow.
Within a week, Molly V's, thank you so much for coming
Yeah,
by.
this
We
is
really
awesome.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
And it's delicious. Hey, stick around. When we come back, our final thoughts this morning.
We're back after this.
No, I was.
Hello, welcome.
We're back.
All right, final thoughts of the morning here on ARC Rochester. A lot of fun. I mean, you really can't beat ice cream, but
No.
definitely some good conversations.
Who would have won if you were the only voter?
I really am happy with the winner.
Okay,
I thought
perfect.
that
I don't think I can say.
Okay, that's fair.
That one or the peanut butter one was great. I liked them all, but those were my favorite.
Yeah.
That does it for us here on ARC Rochester. Make sure to wake up with us again tomorrow morning starting at 4:57 over on where?
13 WHAM ABC.
Right.
You can join Steph and Mark there later today for 13 WHAM News at midday.
Bye.